We're going to talk about the OEM, Q&A, the basics. So some of the questions we have is, a very common question that we always face is, I don't know what product to do. How do I find out what product to do? What type of product should I do? Well, the obvious things are to look at social media, do a bit of market research, try some Google Analytics. I think in Google Trends, there's fantastic information on the number of people that will search for certain categories or information, and that would be a very good indicator of what products really will sell well. Common products which are evergreen are the slimming products. Weight loss products always sell well. Men's products always sell well. They're actually quite recession proof. We were doing quite a bit of men's metabolism boosting products. They were doing very well. So do give Google Trends a very good look. That's actually one of the features when you start to use Google AdWords. It's free, so you don't actually need to run any ads in order to check out these keywords, or just give us a call and we can tell you what the trends are now. And then the next question is, what do you need if you want to OEM a product? Well, obviously you need a manufacturer, you need a product idea, and you need some money. How much money you ask? Probably around 5,000 ringgit all the way to 20,000 ringgit for food products. 5,000 ringgit usually applies for cosmetics, household products, disinfectants, sanitizers, cleaning products, serums, cleansers, toners, and all those cosmetic stuffs. Actually, cosmetic products, their variation amongst each other are not very far away. So let's say a day cream, a night cream, or even just a lotion, the base formula is actually very similar. The next question is, how do you identify a good OEM manufacturer? Well, it's based on certification, it's like GMP, HACCP, ISO 22000, and you need to have good communication between two people. It's a partnership. It's not just an outright sales and purchase type of thing. I think if you do an outright sales and purchase type of thing, you start to see that you might be left hanging dry, and your marketing objectives and the direction you want to bring your company, even in the extent of just making a little bit of samples, they're not happy. And is that company able to share the same vision as you? I want to be environmentally friendly. I want to be natural. If the company's ethics or the company's methodology of doing business is not within the same trend, you might find yourself with an uphill battle and you might have some problems in the finished product that comes out. A lot of times, manufacturers tend to overpromise and in the sense of price, in the sense of timeline. They really try to get it fast because everyone's fighting for contracts. Sometimes paying a bit more for a contract manufacturer who is more honest. Timelines of about 1 month to 2 months are actually very, very realistic. And that's because of packaging. Those timelines take a bit of time to get through. And the next question is, how do I ensure the quality of the OEM products? Well, quality of OEM products are very hard to ascertain. It actually depends on what product you're making. Powders, for example, they need to be dry. And a good dry percentage is around about 8% relative humidity inside the sachet pack. Another thing is also to check the sachet's seal. Look at the seal, see whether it's using micro leak or whatnot. And actually the foil itself, those biscuits that you always eat, that foil is actually not the right foil for powder products. You need to get some better powder foils, which is actually quite hard to tear. And that actually has what they call a plastic layer, PE layer at the bottom. And that actually prevents a lot of moisture going into the product. For cosmetics, you're looking at stability. If possible, try not to compress your timeline too tight. You want to have a decent stability study done. A decent stability study would be around about a 2 to 3 month accelerated stability study. And what you're looking for here, you're looking actually for separation of your cream or even your water or your tonic or whatever you're trying to make. And because a lot of formulations, especially natural ones, they need to be tested first, especially if they have a lot of these extracts that you put inside. There are things that are called anionic and ionic reactions, which cause severe problems and separation. Another one is actually spoilage. We are not using parabens as a preservatives. You're using natural preservatives. You need to get the dosage right based on the actives that you're putting inside. And sometimes based on theoretical calculations, you're not able to get it correct. product does spoil. And how do you identify a spoiled product? It's actually smell, and you look for liquid. There will be liquid that will build up on the top. The next one we have is, how do I communicate my expectations to the manufacturer? Well, it is quite difficult. I would recommend meeting whoever you are engaging with, and ideally having a face-to-face interaction on site at their premise. Why that's important is because you want to see their factory, you want to see how they operate, and you want to see whether the factory is busy. Factory is busy, you know, this place has a lot of contracts. Factory not so busy, maybe you can probably negotiate your way out, get a better deal for yourself. I think it's important to do some due diligence and some audits at your own esteem. Don't be shy to ask. A lot of good factories will allow you to have a sneak peek, maybe just in the warehouse instead of just the manufacturing line. But at least you know where the premise is, you know where your product's going to be manufactured, and you got a face to the manufacturer. I think that's very important, especially when you start to come into dicey situations such as litigation. And the good question, the big holy grail of question is, what's the minimum budget and quantity? Quantity is very subjective. For cosmetics, a lot of manufacturers, especially the smaller ones, they're able to do around about 300 over units, and that's actually really peanuts. You're probably looking to invest around about 5,000 to 8,000, depending on the packaging you pick. Most natural ingredients, you can probably look around about that same price point. Synthetic ones, you can probably bring it down to around the low 5s. Natural stuff, you're looking at about 8 to 10 for around about 300 to 500 units, depending what type of betanes and surfactants you're using. Another one is actually the fragrance and the essential oils. Those actually are very expensive, and you want a great smell, you want a great fragrance, it comes at a price. It is not cheap. So sometimes try not to be too cheap on what you want to do. Oh, actually there's one thing a lot of people ask is actually the samples. A lot of companies operate in very different ways. Right now, of course, with this COVID and whatnot, manufacturers, a good portion of them are actually very desperate for business. So don't be shy. Ask for the number of samples you want. I think 5 to 10 samples is very reasonable, and you're looking between 5 to 10 ml is actually not unheard of. For sachets, in terms of powders, you can probably look at doing around about 10 over sachets would be very reasonable for contract manufacturers. And a lot of people will ask, do I need money up front? Well, current situation now, a lot of companies do not need money up front. Like Furley, for ourselves, we do not collect money up front unless we believe there's extensive amount of work that's required to go into the R&D of the product. The next question is, how long does it take to OEM a product? Well, as I mentioned before, a decent and reasonable timeline is between about 2 months. And I'll explain it to you why. Packaging will take roughly about 2 weeks to get, and that's your boxes and your labels and whatnot. Regulation will take you around about 2 to 3 weeks for food and cosmetic. That sets aside supplements like MAL registered traditional and supplement products. That's a separate story. Those take around about 6 months, so bear that in mind. To actually manufacture the product in the factory, you're looking around about 1 week to 2 weeks. It's not that long. And actually the shrink wrapping is the one which takes the longest period of time. So if you have a good allocation on timeline, you'll be able to get the product to your customers at the right time and at the right price. Do communicate this clearly between each other, between yourself and the manufacturer. When you do that, you can plan yourself well, you can run your marketing campaigns well. I think when you have a good relationship with a factory or with anyone who is supporting you, you could try to push for them earlier. But do take note that sometimes quality will be compromised. And we're talking about the finishing and the things like stickers and all that, the shrink wrapping. A question you want to ask is, do I need to register my cosmetic products in Malaysia, and why? Even the food products. Do I need to register a food? No, what's a food registration? Well, there's no such thing as a food registration. And why that doesn't exist is very simple. When you open a bakery, you're making so many cakes. You don't need to register, right? And it actually kind of falls under the same type of category. For cosmetics, you do need to register them, and that's to ensure the safety of everyone in Malaysia. And what they look at is actually the ingredient list. They have a banned list of ingredients. I think there was a scandal that happened a while ago about mercury and all these type of steroids and crap. They put a bunch of crap in the product. Those things work well, not mercury, like those hormones or whatever. Of course, the results are great, but they are not permitted, and they must be used with guidance of a doctor, which is why they're not considered cosmetic. They need a prescription. So the important one everyone's waiting for is what are the trends for this last quarter? What trends did we see at Furley? Well, the big market trend right now is actually for us our sleep products. We are doing quite a bit of sleep products with ashwagandha and stuff. So I think you look at the previous video that they'll post sooner today. They'll talk about what's ashwagandha, what are all these new actives, L-tryptophan. I think the other one is called, where is it now? Anyway, so it's about sleep and relaxation. And that's because of now COVID has really gotten a lot of people to stay at home and really think and reflect about themselves. And with a significant amount of time spent together and financial pressure, people are under a tremendous amount of stress, more than ever. Sleep is a big issue, and I think improper work-life balance and a lot of this working from home stuff is really getting to people. Some people love it, some people hate it, so it's a hit and miss, right? And the technology thing, we're always so connected and we're always so fast-paced. Even us now, we're pushing social media because we have to do it. It's where it's at. And the reason being is when it's so fast-paced, you are expected to work hard, and that really drains people down. So right now, sleep and relaxation, I believe until end of this year to beginning next year will be one of the biggest, hottest topics on products that will drive the next quarter. We're going to take a good bet on it, so stay tuned for Furley. We'll start to sell that type of stuff. The other thing is men's health products always does well, throughout the whole year during MCO. Everywhere around the world, Russia, Ukraine, online in US and Europe, these men health products always do well. The maca extracts, tonka ali, ginger, horny goat, ginseng, some L-arginine, keratin, always things that are fail-safe in terms of products that you can look to buy and sell. Women's health products actually do very well continuously as well. We're talking about anti-aging, and focus for Malay market is actually very big for us. Manjakani containing products do very well. It appeals to that customer segment well. And of course, the evergreen product is weight loss or weight management. Some help with slimming always does well. And you talk about different categorizations of them. We talk about fiber, we talk about actives or diuretics. Those always do well. So things like Garcinia cambogia, metabolic boosters. And what are metabolic boosters? They are the vitamin B group, they are the caffeine group, the taurine group. And those tend to boost your heart rate, which they believe helps increase metabolism, which you think kind of relates to the calorific breakdown of calories in your bloodstream or in your body, right? Diuretics are more like, you go toilet, you go pee, and that inherently will lose around 1 to 2 kilos continuously, but there's a cap on that. And softening of stool, probiotics are a big one. I think para and postbiotics will be the next trend mid next year. When the economy really starts to pick up around about June is where I anticipate it for us to be ready. So what are the raw materials that are most popular in most ingredients as a base? Actually, grape seeds, grapeseed extract, green tea extract, pomegranate extract, tromella for whitening and anti-wrinkle, lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is quite interesting because in certain types are considered fruit and certain types are considered supplements. So you really have to pick the right strain with the right claim, and you can get to market fast, so you just go through the registration. It's not that hard. Just gotta wait and time yourself well. And how can Furley Bioextracts help you? Well, of course, we have all the certifications you want. We have CGMP, HACCP, ISO 23000. We export around the world. Interestingly, why people actually look for us compared to others is we got the extraction line, and that means we can actually make those herbal extracts for you and put them into the cosmetics, put them into the foods, or even convert them into powders. So I think we are quite complete. A lot of these herbal ointments, we do quite a bit of those products around. And that's because they have a herbal formula and they want us to make a cream, make a rub, or even make a patch out of it. And we have to do the extraction, standardize the extract, concentrate it down, and have it put into different products, right? And I think a lot of people love working with us is because we take everyone step by step, from product ideation to the completed product. And we don't leave you hanging dry. We even come up with a marketing plan for you. SEO optimization will even help you with that. I think at Furley now, going beyond being a manufacturer, it is important for us to provide marketing support, social media support, and even teaching you and guiding you in terms of how our strategies have worked for us and what strategies have not worked for us as a contract manufacturer. An example now is Google Ads for contract manufacturing is actually doing quite poor. I think for the same amount of money now compared to last year, we're taking around about 80% reduction in search traffic for contract manufacturing. But that means that a lot of the bigger orders have reduced. One big one now is actually Instagram and Facebook. Be surprised and be open-minded that Instagram and Facebook for contract manufacturing, which is thus why we're doing this, is actually one of the biggest lead drivers for us right now. And the cost per acquisition is actually quite reasonable. So have an open mind. I think one big one a lot of people overlook is actually when you want to test some unique selling points or test your messaging to people now or to a target category of people, Facebook's a fantastic way to do it at a very cheap price. So you can look at things like impression, you can look at things like click rate, and you can look whether the titles appeal to people or not. Or even you can try to do some sampling or whatever. So I think that type of information really, a trial and error with minimal amount of cost is something that you should really look at. And I think that's about it. There's nothing much, right? Okay, guys, so I think we'll end it tonight. I'm pretty tired. It's 10 o'clock. I want to sleep. And we'll catch you guys soon. Have any questions, just message us or DM us. Watch our YouTube. There's a lot more content coming out. And the reason being is a lot of repeated questions that we have to answer in Malay, in English. So just keep tuned to that and we'll be in touch with you soon. So ciao. Bye-bye. Bye.